Hi and welcome to Whiskey Shared. You're watching my review of Dartmoor Whisky 3-year-old Bordeaux Cask. I'm Toby and you're watching Whiskey Shared. Welcome to my review of Dartmoor Whisky 3-year-old Bordeaux Cask. You may have seen that I recently reviewed the 3-year-old bourbon cask. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a link in the description so you can. Since then, I've visited the Dartmoor Whisky Distillery in Bovey Tracy, just on the edge of Dartmoor. It's a really quaint distillery in the old town hall. It's really well set up there, but one thing that I couldn't do is walk away without a bottle, so I bought this 3-year-old Bordeaux cask. The setup there that they have is really quite interesting. I covered it in my previous video, but it's an old cognac still that they rescued from France, and the people in the distillery were really helpful and really friendly. The distillery itself, I found out that they don't actually make their wash or make their own beer in the distillery. They get a local brewery to make that for them, and then they make their whiskey on site. This whiskey has been in an ex-Bordeaux cask for all its life, and interestingly, you can see how dark it is. If I compare that to the bourbon cask, you'll see the shade is quite a bit different. So, should we find out what it tastes like? On to the whiskey. Right, so before I start, should we take a look at the colour? I'd say that's like a chestnut. It's really nice shade. Let's try it on the nose. Right, so the first thing I get is icing sugar, and I get like a yeasty sort of marmite, almost like umami sort of on the nose. Very similar to the 3-year-old bourbon cask. There are definite similarities. But in the background there's like plums or cherries. There is really sort of like fruitiness that's starting to come through. Yeah, it's really like a much fruitier version of the bourbon cask. Let's try on the palate. Okay, so this is where it differs from the bourbon cask. It starts off viscous, which the bourbon cask does, but it instantly changes. What you pick up is the wine influence. So it's a little bit tannic, but there's lots of fruitiness. That's starting to dissipate. So I'd say it's got sort of like a short to medium finish. So let's have another sip and pick up on those fruity flavours. Yeah, so that fruitiness is really nice. It's like cherry, which is what I picked up on the nose, but it's very jammy. It's like a strawberry jam or a raspberry jam. It's really quite fruity, which is nice. But in the background, which is what the bourbon cask had predominantly, is that sort of savoury, yeasty, sort of marmite, almost like meaty character. That's in the background now, and the fruitiness that the wine has given has come to the fore. So for me, this is better already. But let's have one more sip. Yeah, so having a third sip, all those flavours are accentuated. The fruitiness, the jamminess, that's really quite nice. It's not overly sweet, but they really are quite nice, those notes. And that savoury, yeasty note, which I found probably a touch too much in the bourbon cask, that's sort of lessened, and it's actually very pleasant now. But the more you sip it, the more you get sort of like a peppery note that builds on the tongue, but it's not unpleasant. As I said, it has got like a short to medium finish, and that fruity jamminess sort of lingers. It's lightly tannic, so it's starting to dry my tongue now, and yeah, there is a little savoury note along with that, and a little pepper that was building on the tongue, but it's really, really quite nice. I would say out of the two, this is my favourite, and this one actually stands slightly forward in the fact that I'd quite happily reach for this and drink more, whereas the other one, it's more of an occasional dram, just because for me, you know, I found that savoury note just a bit too much. But yeah, this is definitely a reasonable step up from, you know, the standard bourbon cask maturation. And you know, some people won't like wine finishes, but I find this really rounds this whiskey off really well. And yeah, it's definitely a distillery that I'll keep looking to see what they're going to release in future. So yeah, if you haven't checked them out, do so soon. I'll put a link in the description. Stauncher.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, why not give it a like or a comment, and please consider subscribing for more videos like this.